ลิฟต์ตอนนี้ครับ
On the morning of November 28, 2025, the city of Hat Yai in southern Thailand woke up to what felt like just another monsoon day. But within hours, that illusion shattered into one of the most ferocious flooding catastrophes Southeast Asia has witnessed in decades. More than 23 inches of rain hammered down in just 3 days, an amount meteorologists call the heaviest deluge this region has seen in nearly 300 years. Rivers exploded over their banks, streets vanished beneath raging, fast-moving currents. Entire neighborhoods slid under the rising tide as panicked families fought their way to higher ground. For more than 250,000 people, Hat Yai didn't just flood, it drowned. The airport shut down, highways disappeared, rescue teams battled collapsing power lines and debris-choked streets to reach families trapped inside a sinking city. This is the terrifying story of how a modern metropolis was swallowed in under 72 hours, and why experts are warning this could be only the beginning. It started quietly, dark clouds rolling in from the South China Sea. Then the northeast monsoon slammed into a strengthening low-pressure system, supercharging the sky. Warm, moisture-laden air rocketed upward, spawning monstrous storm cells that unleashed biblical rain. By midday, the heavens ripped open with a fury almost no one had ever seen. In the first 24 hours alone, over 10 inches crashed down, enough to obliterate drainage systems never built for this kind of onslaught. Narrow canals burst, small rivers turned into violent, chest-deep torrents. Streets once alive with motorbikes and tourists were devoured by churning brown water. Residents speak of a horrifying moment when heavy rain became a solid wall of water. Cars bobbed like toys, market stalls disappeared in seconds. Electricity died across whole districts as transformers drowned. By day 2, the rainfall had doubled. Water surged past 6 feet in places, forcing families onto rooftops, second-floor balconies, or desperate rafts made of anything that floated. Dozens of communities were completely cut off. No roads, no phone signal, no way in or out. Helicopters thundered overhead, but couldn't reach everyone. Hat Yai, the vibrant city of tourism and trade, had become a silent, submerged labyrinth, and the storm was still getting worse. As the floodwaters climbed, residents faced a nightmare unfolding faster than rescuers could respond. Whole neighborhoods were ordered to evacuate instantly as water roared through doorways and into living rooms. Families snatched baby formula, medicine, passports, whatever they could grab, then waded into chest-deep currents that shoved against them with shocking power. Boats became the only escape. People used plastic tubs, broken doors, or even children's inflatable pool toys to carry the elderly and kids to safety. On rooftops, the stranded waved flashlights and white shirts at helicopters, praying to be seen before darkness fell. One mother held her toddler above her head for hours until firefighters finally reached them by boat. Inside Hat Yai's main hospital, chaos reigned. Nearly 600 patients, 50 in intensive care, as floodwater poured through lower floors, killing power and contaminating everything. Doctors and nurses carried patients up pitch-black stairwells while helicopters airlifted the most critical cases from the roof. And across the city, children sobbed as their streets vanished. The elderly shook from cold and exhaustion after hours of waiting. Yet even in the terror, strangers shared food, offered shelter, and guided each other through deadly currents. For tens of thousands, Hat Yai was no longer a city, it was a flood zone with no end in sight. As the storm raged on, Hat Yai's vital arteries collapsed. Major highways linking southern Thailand disappeared under more than 615 feet of water, leading endless lines of abandoned cars, buses, and trucks. Bridges crumbled, traffic lights shorted out, bustling markets became dark, lifeless lakes. Hat Yai International Airport was swallowed, runways underwater, every flight grounded. Over 1,000 travelers, many Malaysian, tourists trapped inside.
Rescue boats paddled through terminals while staff frantically moved equipment to upper floors. Railway lines to Bangkok were ripped apart, stranding passengers at remote stations with no idea when service might return. Power substations flooded, plunging commercial districts into darkness. Internet and phone networks collapsed to the worst possible moment, cutting families off from loved ones and crippling emergency coordination. When the rain finally eased, Hat Yai looked like a war zone. Roads severed, power gone, transportation paralyzed, an entire region brought to its knees. The human toll was heartbreaking. By November 26th, authorities confirmed at least 33 dead, thousands injured or missing. Many were swept away trying to cross flooded streets, others drowned inside homes that filled too fast to escape. Over 250,000 families, more than the population of many cities, were forced into overcrowded evacuation centers, arriving with nothing but the clothes on their backs. Children were traumatized, the elderly fell ill from cold and exhaustion. Hypothermia, skin infections, and respiratory illnesses exploded in the shelters. The economic devastation was catastrophic. Hat Yai's hotels, restaurants, and malls sat underwater for days, billions of baht lost overnight. Small business owners, taxi drivers, street vendors lost everything. Thousands instantly unemployed. Schools shut indefinitely. Hospitals overwhelmed. Neighborhoods unrecognizable. Thailand launched one of its largest emergency operations ever. Military helicopters roared overhead, airlifting critical patients and dropping food to isolated areas. More than 600 hospital patients were evacuated by air. Rescue teams poured in from across the country, firefighters wading chest-deep, volunteers on makeshift rafts, convoys of trucks loaded with water, food, blankets, and generators. The Red Cross and international groups rushed in emergency kits and sanitation help. But the scale was overwhelming. Stagnant floodwater blocked roads for days. Many communities stayed cut off, bridges gone, power lines down. The heroic response saved countless lives, yet laid bare how unprepared Thailand remains for climate-fueled mega-disasters. When the water finally receded, Hat Yai looked like a different planet. Streets buried in mud, cars flipped, homes gutted. For 250,000 displaced families, returning home meant facing total loss. Walls collapsed, wiring destroyed, every belonging ruined. Tourism and trade, the city's lifeblood, were crippled for months. Temporary shelters overflowed, disease spread, mental trauma settled in quietly among children and the elderly. The 2025 Hat Yai floods were more than a natural disaster. They were a wake-up call. A thriving city brought to a standstill in just 72 hours. Extreme weather is no longer rare. It's the new normal, and our cities are not ready. The images of 7-foot water, frantic rooftop rescues, and entire neighborhoods erased will haunt survivors forever. Yet the stories of neighbors saving neighbors, volunteers risking everything, doctors airlifting patients from flooded hospitals remind us of unbreakable human spirit. But the warning is unmistakable. Without better early warnings, modern drainage, flood-proof cities, and real global action on climate change, disasters like this will strike harder and more often. As Hat Yai begins the long road to recovery, the world is watching. The lessons here reach far beyond Thailand's borders. If this story shook you, like, share, and subscribe for more real-time reporting and documentary storytelling on the extreme events reshaping our world. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay safe.